Hello everyone, welcome back to the OS World Cup 2024. We are here with the semi-finals weekend and we are kicking it off with the UK and Philippines in the losers bracket. This World Cup, for now, we've had a few bangers here and there, but this weekend generally has a lot of potential to be one of the most exciting weekends in OS World Cup history. UK versus Philippines, although it might be one of the less favorable ones in terms of that excitement, does still have potential to be very explosive, very close seedings there as well. But this is going to potentially be a good one. We'll have to wait and see. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Sad Shiba, joined by the wonderful Doomsday for UK versus Philippines.
Hey, what's up, Shiba? It's glad to be back. I'm glad to be back here on OWC again. It's the semi-finals. It's the business end of the tournament now. We're at the point now where the map pools are starting to get real nasty. There's a lot of very hard maps here. A lot of maps maybe we're not going to be expecting too many high team scores on. So this is where those high-end players are really going to shine. And on the side of Philippines, there's a few players here that on a harder pool could really do some bits. You've already seen players like Nathan Ram do so much work here for the Philippines in their matches. But up against the UK, a roster that scales well once you get into those harder pools, it's going to be a challenge for them. But I'm excited to see what they've got in store for them.
Yeah, the Philippines have done great work in proving their competence as a team, even while losing such huge instrumental players in their run last year, with not only some great individual improvements, but some rookies that have really showed up this year. Iko Rissi and Scene have done very good work for their team in order to really fill in those gaps that Philippines were missing. But that being said, Philippines even so are starting to thin down on their skill cap and flexibility with this pool being so difficult. They put up a really good fight up against Ukraine, winning on tiebreaker last week, but compare that to the pool that we have now. It's a little difficult to really be able to analyze Philippines' options, especially against a team like the UK, in which their skill sets are so similar, yet UK's ceiling is one of the benefits that come with this stage.
Yeah, I think they're going to like this pool quite a bit with some of the maps being pretty damn hard at this point now already. Kind of feels like this pool compared to, say, last year's semis feels quite a bit harder than that. It feels so much harder than last year's.
So much harder.
It's kind of nuts. I mean, one thing the Philippines have certainly shown, though, is they are brave with their picking. They've picked a lot of different styles on maps. It's not too obvious to see like a trend through the way they've been picking so far in this tournament. They tend to mix and match, whether they're trying to pick into their opponents or pick against their opponents more often than not. Not too sure, but one thing's for sure, they are not afraid to go into different things each time. So I wonder what they've got in store with the picks.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at both sides of these teams, you can see that Philippines, with the skill cap being a bit of an issue like we mentioned before, their main strengths that we usually have seen the most pronounced here are in their mechanics and their aim. Anything that can kind of mix a little bit of tech into that as well is also really helpful, as players like Nathan Ram are despite being very well-rounded, most notably a very powerful control and tech player. So anything that can really add to his strength can give Philippines a lot of carry potential to potentially get a few upset picks. But it's safe to say that they are definitely the underdogs in this matchup. Their main strengths that the majority of their roster can perform very well on are eclipsed by the insane ceiling that UK have, and that's just going to make Philippines the underdogs of this match. But it doesn't really change how much potential this team has to do some really good work. These bans so far are what probably we would have expected here, with Fallen Angel being banned from Philippines into UK, which I think makes a lot of sense. This one has a lot of speed in it on top of it, which I feel like at this level, you are too scared of UK to do so. And UK, being the wise team here and going into that DT4, I thought this was going to be one of those very strong potential picks for Philippines to maybe exploit under the UK's nose, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be the case. UK, snuff it out.
Yeah, getting rid of some of that control, so some of that left field pick that maybe UK might get a bit uncomfortable on. Even in the DT pool, they've definitely preferred their mechanics and their tapping. It's their happy place. Followed up with the free mod 2 as well, which is even more control gone from the pool. The Aza map, good to see Aza dropping a custom in 2024, but we're not going to be seeing it for this matchup.
Yeah, wise ban here from UK once again. Philippines are one of those teams that anything that can kind of implement their own main roster strengths into something that can add to Nathan Ram and a couple other players like Ramu, for example, that could really benefit from the hidden being applied on the free mod is going to be really beneficial for Philippines. And I think UK have made, I think, what most people wouldn't be able to see through too well. But I think if you really in depth try to analyze these pools and really try to look into these teams with previous stats established and pocket picks that surprised people in the past, UK have done some pretty solid bans, I'd say. Leaving that Hard Rock open, which is solid for UK generally, especially benefiting Mahmoud and Akolibed, who I think this year in particular have shown a very strong proficiency for those Hard Rock skill sets that UK, I think, are happy to play with.
It's looking like a lot of that Hard Rock's going to stay open because it's going to be a double DT ban from Philippines, and there it is. The 300 BPM density speed pick, I suppose. Arrival of Tears is gone, so that telegraphs, I think, all you need to know. Philippines don't mind speed, but they don't want to go anywhere near it in this match, it looks like.
Well, at least not into the highest degree, right? These two DT maps the Philippines have banned are some of the most unforgiving, brutal tapping maps I've seen. Granted, Fallen Angel, it's very much a consistency, not too high ceiling, but still reasonably difficult aim map with a lot of bursts, a lot of raw stamina speed, especially with that guitar solo, especially with that, not guitar solo section, but that very iconic part of Fallen Angel with the stamina death stream sections that are really brutal on a map like this. And I think Philippines, although very much competent in mechanics, they fare a team like UK with players of the likes of a Akolibed, of Malteser, who I think are two in particular players that could destroy on tapping maps this high in the ceiling and this high in BPM.
I certainly think Philippines going into this, they are going to have to keep up that bravery with their picking. Plenty of gimmick to pick into, and I think it's a decent shout into the UK. They have very solid gimmick players and very solid hidden players, but it's not really where they've found most of their success. They've been a little bit shaky at times on those weirder skill sets, and Philippines have the players to make use of those. I'd love to see them pick into something, maybe, plenty of that hidden pool, maybe even that No Mod 5 if they're feeling frisky. But with this being a best of 11, they definitely have to make use of it at some point. And I feel like making that work is an important factor for their win condition here, I think.
I agree. I think what's been a little bit difficult with exactly how to pinpoint with UK is very much the fact that they have been very consistent on speed and DT and generally the hard rocks as well. But on the other skill sets that I think on paper we would expect to be one of the UK's biggest strengths, they've been, like you said, very shaky, very inconsistent, and I think Philippines are going to try their best to maybe make the most of that, especially with players like Ramu, like Nathan Ram, who particularly last week performed very, very well. And I think that's the goal with Philippines here. Not only do you want to go with what you're potentially comfortable in, but also try and exploit the inconsistencies that you've seen within the UK, ignoring the strength they have on paper. And Warcry, despite what we mentioned, seems to be one that I, despite being very happy to see, a little surprised to be picked so early.
Yeah, opening it up with the No Mod 1, an increasingly rare thing. People don't like to pick No Mod 1, it's a bit spooky. This one in particular is an interesting, aim map, though. By Melon Boy, it's been described as a stamina map, and yes. I totally agree. Because this map is 3.5 minutes of non-stop high spacing aim. The strain graph on this is just a flat line. It's completely maxed out and it gets very tiring. And it also has occasional bursts and control bits in it, 1/3 bursts that with you trying to hold your, stamina up on the aim, then you have to deal with control, and it's so hard to just flub on those when you're under pressure. So this is an intense aim map with all caps on that one.
Yeah, I mean, you really can't understate the stamina difficulty of this map, not only in the tapping, but also in that aim. It's consistently hitting you over 3 minutes and 21 seconds, and usually you would expect somewhere in a No Mod 1 at this length to give you a break, to give you a moment to chill and give you a moment of a break, but that does not happen ever in this map, and I mean that, you know. There are only a few moments of a slight slowdown in difficulty, and it's in the details. You have to really pay attention to this map to notice the slowdowns, and, you know, unless you are a player who has practiced this and knows where they are, usually you just kind of look at this and think, how are these players going to be able to hold on? Single tapping is a near death sentence unless you are quite literally one of the strongest single tap players on the planet, you know. So few players will be able to single tap these. You're mostly looking at, you know, the full ult players to prefer this over most aim maps, really. But yeah, here we go into Warcry. Another thing to mention here, this is a custom map here by Melon Boy, including the background and storyboard. And once again, man, Melon Boy does not miss. Incredible map.
Dude, it's so good.
It's so good. But ladies and gentlemen, let's get our semi-finals weekend started. And what better map like Warcry to get this going? UK and Philippines semi-finals. Whoever loses this is out of the Ost World Cup. And whoever triumphs advances to the winner of Canada and China. It is time. Let's do this for UK. Mahmood, Raj, Skiatso, and Bubbleman to start this off. Very solid roster here, very capable, but Philippines as well. This is their opening pick, and the roster does not speak doubt in that. Zone Louise, Miltism, Foster, and Nathan Ram to fill out the slots here. This map is consistently difficult through and through all the time. You see so many spikes, but also that occasional hit to check you on the tapping and finger control also just emphasizes difficulty even more. Opening misses here, not looking too good for UK. Bubbleman, Skiatso, and Mahmood all missing respectively at different periods of the map towards the start. It's only Rojhol onto the full combos, but finally Versus Blood is dropped here from Philippines. Zone Louise is to go down next.
Yeah, the combo is looking pretty good here for the Philippines, and the accuracy is up there too, so they have the noses in front early on. But with this being stamina, can they keep that energy level up? And Poster gets the break, so it is actually advantage here with the UK. Skiatso gets another break, hands it back over. As this map goes on though, see the cursor shake, see the aim shake. We'll see if some players start dropping their stamina as this goes on.
Yeah, later down the line, you're going to be seeing a lot of players struggle here. You're going to be seeing a lot of nerves tested, but Rudge is going to be a big miss there from UK, including another double miss there from Skiatso and Bubbleman. Mahmood now left on his own with 800 combo. Yes, very good, but not really much compared to what Philippines have. Miltism and Nathan Ram still have those full combos intact with brilliant accuracy to keep them in check, but Miltism does miss on the 1/3 bursts, and that in turn gives a decent combo even grounds here in favor of Philippines by just a small margin. But the more the supporting combos go down, the more it could swing slowly in favor of UK, but time is ticking. The chase is on here. Mahmood has to hold, and the rest of UK need to try and get something to support and to suppress Nathan Ram, because if there's anyone who really isn't likely to trip apart, it would be Nathan Ram, but he's missed, and Mahmood still has the combo going into the final third. He's got to keep going because the scoreline is still in the favor of Philippines. Skiatso misses, but Bubbleman has to support. 500 combos soon to be, as Mahmood needs to continue. He's got to fight and keep it going. Only a quarter of the map left to go, but some of these jumps are so brutal even so, but the stamina doesn't seem to phase Mahmood so far.
Players looking rock solid here on their aim. Mahmood's dropping like a few slider ends here and there, but he's not missing, and that's the important part here for the UK. They take the lead. There's a bit of this map to go, and there's some combo on the side of Philippines. It's not over yet, but the UK are back in the driver's seat here now.
Mahmood just towards the end, there's so little left to go. Important thing to mention here is that towards the very end, it doesn't continue from aim. It gives you some really difficult finger control. If your stamina is at its absolute lowest, this map will destroy you here. But the support combos from Philippines, despite being so solid, are not really enough compared to the combo that Mahmood has. And as long as the stamina and ag doesn't go too far down towards this ending, which doesn't seem to be the case here for Mahmood, it's going to be the case. Mahmood with the reverse choke will seal the deal for the UK without a doubt. Incredible solo carry score here from Mahmood. What a great way to start. What a clutch from a player who's beforehand so unproven, so unrecognized, but recently has shown amazing consistency and proficiency on these aim mechanics. Mahmood gets the reverse choke.
Yeah, Mahmood is having a great tournament so far. What is OWC so far here for him? Nathan Ram got that slider break though, and on a map like this, that is hard to take. What a performance though again from Nathan Ram. He's going to be so critical here to the Philippines. And they looked so good there for the first half, but the UK coming out stronger in the second half off the back of that ridiculous play from Mahmood and recovery from Bubbleman as well. 1k combo through the second half, getting himself back on track and doing well.
Yeah, that's a very instrumental win there for UK as well, although this is one of the strengths that I thought would be quite close to from both sides here. You know, there was a lot of potential for either team to really take that. You saw a lot of collective consistency more on the side of Philippines. It was that individual clutch from Mahmood that really got them that win. Had Nathan Ram not made that one tiny slip-up, this would have been a completely different story, and Philippines would have been a point up.
We're not going too far from where we've just been though, Sheba, because the first pick from the UK is more aim, more or less. 3mod 1. To make the end of battle, it's the Jonathan LFJ Falcom Sound Team Classic. There's always got to be one every year. It's just tradition at this point. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, too good not to be left out every World Cup nowadays, right? JLFJ and Falcom Sound Team are kind of a match made in heaven, and this one is no exception. This one having a little bit of density applied to it as well. It is AR 9.4, but some of this aim is quite fast-paced, and in turn does lead to a bit of density reading difficulty in here, but not really too much of an intensity here. It's not mostly what you're going to be looking out for. There are going to be generally the raw aim sections that are going to be the most difficult, which does make you question what are the mods going to be here from both sides. I feel like some are quite obvious, most likely going to see Schiazzo on the hidden, but who on the UK is going to be on the hard rock? All three of these members in a Kolibad, Raj and Mahmood could easily run this and perform very well. Philippines is a similar deal. You could see quite a couple players run the hidden, most likely Nathan Ram or Imposter, but Zone Louise and Milkteism could alternate between the hard rocks. It really does depend. This map is quite versatile with the options you could put down for the mods.
Yeah, Philippines have a lot of insurance on 3mod picks in terms of their mod players. They can mix and match. They're going to play it with Zone on the hard rock, Milkteism on that hidden. I think Zone on the hard rock does make sense. Zone, a very strong hard rock player, giving Nathan Ram and Imposter the no mod, I guess, comfort, quote unquote.
Yeah. I mean, Nathan Ram, I think there are a lot of alternating strategies. I think that's been one thing that's been so good about the recent years of the highest levels in tournaments is that strategies have started to become a little bit more complex. And granted, although there's only so much you can do in a game like OS, you know, sometimes it's still nice to see some differing strategies to what we used to see back in like 2021, 2022. And now you're a lot more looking at your super consistent carry plays to stick onto that normal. And Nathan Ram is going to keep that intact here from Philippines. But Zone Louise and Milkteism on their respective mods, no slouches at all. With the mods from the UK here, Schiazzo on his classic signature hidden with Mahmood coming in to fill the hard rock slot here. With some opening misses already established here, with Milkteism missing at the very start of the map and Raj having a miss just recently, so small advantage in favor of Philippines in the first quarter of the map.
The early misses. Again here from the UK, they got early misses last time too. Meaning they're going to have to come back from behind again. It's another fairly lengthy map, so plenty of time for that to happen. And with that like guitar solo in the middle where it goes into those streams, that could be a big game changer.
Some of these back and forth linear sections are so brutal and so unforgiving, especially on your mods here. Not only is the reading, but the snap can be so complex, but still, it remains into the hands. But here we go into the guitar solo section, another one of these really brutal sections, and a lot of misses here from the UK. Akolibad, Raj and Mahmood all missing. Schiazzo left on his lonesome, hitting the 1/3 but missing on the very end. It's a full wipe. Philippines still have the lead with Nathan Ram still holding the line, but the stamina is still present. The streams are still there. Is that going to be enough for Nathan Ram to keep the combo going? There's not a lot of combo for UK to really back up. You are merely relying on Nathan Ram to gain and gain in favor of Philippines. Even so, 200,000 score is a great gap here for Philippines, even if Nathan Ram misses, but it's not the case. What a pop-off from Nathan Ram.
Yeah, no problems at all. Still holding 99% as well. Milkteism holding quite a bit of combo through that on the hidden as well is going to pay dividends with his accuracy. Philippines looking real good going into the next aim section. The second half of this. Philippines here on course for a big break point, it's looking like.
Yeah, it does seem the case. Another instance where, you know, although this is a great pick for UK on paper, they are seeming shaky. The theme seems to stand, at least for now here. Not many members of the team are able to gauge some big combos. You know, last on Warcry, we saw one player really stand out and the rest kind of struggle and slip away a little bit. And it seems there's going to be a recurring theme for the whole team this time, with Rudge being the last man standing as the rest of them potentially not really able to gain a big combo. Whereas Philippines on the other side, Milkteism and Nathan Ram hold the line, even through the hardest parts of the map. Is that going to be a full combo from Nathan Ram, or is that a reverse choke? Regardless, this score is absolutely crazy, and he's hitting these linear sections as well. This performance from Nathan Ram has been exceptional. A slider break at the very start of the match from Warcry, and now performing to very high levels here. And once again, it seems like Nathan Ram is gonna full combo this map. Absolutely incredible stuff. Milkteism as well. What a great score from him, able to back him up. Clearly, Philippines didn't need it. That 800,000 score gap is crazy.
What a score from Nathan Ram, and what a score from Milkteism on that hidden. FCing all of that ending, a bunch of that middle section as well. What a brilliant performance here from the Philippines. And that is actually the first point Philippines has taken off of UK in 3 matchups. They faced 2 times before. That is their first point against them, so they are on the board.
Yeah, Philippines with a great breakpoint against the UK. Like we said, right, Doomsday, if there are any maps that we can really believe Philippines to be convincing on, it's going to be on something that can either A, exploit the inconsistencies, on B, something that they are as comfortable as can be and can make the most of Nathan Ram's versatility. And that's exactly what they've done so far, right? Great start from Philippines on a pick that, UK picked. And again, a map that I would have expected UK to do very well on. But regardless, man, Philippines proved that they're no slouch on their own strengths, on the UK's strengths especially, and they're going to even out the grounds 1-1. The question is now, where are UK going to go next?
Well, our DT2, White Happy, would be tempting at some point. That's got quite a decent control edge, but it's definitely got a speed strain. But they might save that for later. I feel like that map is going to be a tight battleground, really. Philippines don't mind their tapping too much, even though they double bandit. They should have a chance on that. I won't be surprised to see UK pick into more mechanics, but the last 2 we've seen, it's 1-1. It looks pretty good on that that raw aim. Hard up 1 might not be a bad shout. But obviously, Philippines with the next pick, and they're going hidden 3. What a banger this is, by the way.
Oh boy. Ill jazz with a little bit of jazz.
Oh yeah.
This map is kind of brutal, wouldn't you say, Doomsday? I mean, rhythmic flow control is kind of all over the place and quite long with a lot of different BPMs on there as well. It's a brutal control map with a lot of rhythms and kind of a practice diff as well. You kind of have to know what's coming at you in order to really be precise in this one.
Yeah, this map is crazy. Absolutely nutty. Raw flow aim with huge XL D cells. Tough rhythm, tough snapping. The timing signatures in this kind of go all over the place. And there's some big BPM changes as well that come in really suddenly and then speed up suddenly again. So managing that on that hidden with all of the aim control you have to do is scary, man. So all about that raw control. But at 200 BPM, it's not super slow either. So you got to deal with it at a pretty decent tempo.
Yeah, it hits you at multiple angles, this Hidden 3 map. You go into some very intensive flow aim. You also go into some really difficult control, be it rhythmically or mechanically. It's pretty much all over the place, really. You have a few ramp-up sections as well that are just so difficult. You suddenly go into these chill double control sections, and then you just go into these rapid streams and flow aim. It can really trip you up, and all of that, plus the hidden being applied as well, it adds a pretty big reading check, especially with the rhythms in here this as well. Another important thing to note is that there is a rhythm change about 2/3 of the way through the map. It generally, from what I remember, stays decently consistent for the first 2/3, but later down the line into that final third, it does slow down a little bit and it changes the difficulty of it. But yeah, regardless, this map, despite being really cool and very, very nice to see, it is a difficult one. And although on paper you'd think UK have great odds on this, this is one of the things that make them look very shaky and very inconsistent. I think Philippines know that with Ramu and Nathan Ram coming in, Milkteism on such a great hitter performance. They want to snowball that, and this one will be the case as well.
Listia being drafted in here for the UK. One of their core reading players. Dropping, I think, one of the streams at the start, but plenty of time to adjust to the style. Everyone else doing it okay, though, but this map does not give you any time. on like a slow intro, it immediately gets stuck into it. There's a few breaks on the side of Philippines already.
Quite decent spread now, as Philippines do have their 2 misses of their own. UK do trade it, so it's still quite close. Listy and Skiazzo are probably 2 of the more proficient hidden players, the ones with a much higher reputation to perform on stuff like this. And the rest of Philippines have completely collapsed as well. Milkteism, Ramu, Nathan Ram, and Impulsor all missing respective times in that small instance. And in turn, UK are going to establish a bit of a combo advantage. However, Listia does slow down that push just a bit with that miss of her own. But Skiazzo holds the line still. I think if there's anyone that you don't really doubt on a map like this, it is Skiazzo. But how long can he hold on to this combo? There's still three quarters of the map left to go. We're only a quarter of the way through, and Skiazzo does miss, and that's going to close things out quite a bit. Bubbleman and Rudge don't really have recoveries that are too significant here, and Philippines are able to just about under, very close to evening out the combo game. So this is still very tenuous.
Yeah, there's a lot of weight on Bubbleman's combo right now. Of course, on a control map, you wouldn't want to doubt Bubbleman. But it kind of is resting on him. With Rudge breaking, it does hand the advantage over to the Philippines. It's going to go over to them slightly. The players starting to settle into the rhythm of this map pretty well now. It's up to the Philippines to try and keep that going.
Oh,
Milk for Milk Tea.
That miss is brutal. It is traded by Listia, thankfully, and that's one of the bigger combos here from UK that's going to go down and still solidify that advantage for Philippines. The 3 other members in Ramu and Poster and Nathan Ram do have some very high combos. The rest of UK, though, are falling apart. It's just Bubbleman left on his own, and despite Imposter missing, Ramu and Nathan Ram are able to contest Bubbleman's insane high combo, and that in turn is going to lead to the flip here for the Philippines as we get into the final third of the map.
A BPM change is coming. We'll see if it catches anyone.
Oh, small lag drop there from Ramu on the slider. It's a little bit of a cooldown coming into this. But here we are. Smaller than change. A lot of these protects mostly in 1/3, I'd like to think. And although not as intense, it's still very awkward and quite jarring if you're not practiced on it. Recoveries from UK are starting to gain. But as the 1/3 and difficulty is starting to ramp up a little bit, you need to look at these combos. Bubbleman still is holding. Ramu does miss. So does Imposter. Is there enough time for this to flip? Nathan Ram misses as well. But Bubbleman trade. Is the combo from Listia enough? Milteism's contesting her. It's only 26,000 score, and the break is shown. The accuracy is hugely in favor of Milteism as well. He's got to keep this going. He's got to hold. Philippines' lead, despite a life so thin on the tread. Though so thin on the line, it's on a knife's edge. Can Listia hold long enough? No, she can't. And that in turn is going to give Philippines a lead that I don't think UK are able to build back. A full reset here for the UK as Milkteism pushes past the line and gives Philippines the win that they need to take the lead 2-1. Oh, he ends that as well. What a way to end it as well. God. Great job for Milkteism.
So far, so good here for Milkteism. A great game so far for them. A 2 miss, and that was so important. Philippines take the lead. They consolidate the break point. And we were saying, you know, how are Philippines going to do on the skill cap against a high skill cap team? Well, at the moment, they're looking just fine, Sheba.
Yeah, they are. I mean, Milkteism, I think, a player that was overshadowed quite a bit last year, considering the other 2 members of Philippines that they had beforehand, and Hyuk and Enri being the stars of the show, right? With Nathan Ram kind of being that third musketeer in 2023. You know, this year, Philippines have forced their last guard, their older guard, to really step up to the plate, especially with the competition that they face. It's been a tough road here for Philippines, but they haven't disappointed, and the individuals have really stepped up. And Milkteism is one of the bigger names in that pocket, right? One of the bigger players that have really showed up here for this team. And so far, he's done a great job against a team as daunting and scary as the UK. He's done a great job so far alongside the rest of his team, with Nathan Ram and Ramu having his back.
Bubbleman top scoring for the UK on a control map. That's I get deja vu off that one, Sheba. I think I've seen that a few times before. Top score for Bubbleman on that one. Very solid play, but the team difference is the difference, but not by much. It was so close. We've got to pick well now. And I imagine they might be sticking at some more mechanics. I mean, that was a very, very controlling map, and it was contestable. Oh, they are going to go into more control. No mod 3. They're going into one of the originals.
Okay. Finally, good to see an OS original here. OS original here by Nagia. Valdez mapped by Yaspo. This is quite a unique take on the No Mod 3. It's a swing rhythmic finger control, similar deal to the Hidden 3 that we saw earlier. However, it's very different on other aspects. CS6, AR 9.6. This is a fast, intense, and precise control map that can be really brutal on your accuracy, let alone the aim. CS6 is really messed up considering the velocity of some of these patterns.
Yeah, the high precision plus the swing rhythm, the snappy 140 control you have to do, and the accuracy side of this. It's a tough concoction. It's a mean brew. Some of the UK guys definitely quite like this map when they first saw it in the showcase. I know that much. We'll see how they do in practice. It's a pretty early time to pick this, and after losing the control pick, going to have a go at a no mod control pick. They did really well on the no mod 3 earlier on in the tournament. They have a strong no mod ult roster, so I can kind of see why they would pick this on the basis of something like that. But this map is, I don't know, I feel like this is one of those maps that it's not so easy to be consistent on. It's an odd style, an uncommon style with this CS combined with the mapping style, right?
Yeah, I'd be really inclined to agree with that. I can't lie. I feel like with the CS6 being there, precision is kind of inherently known to be quite volatile, quite difficult to be consistently able to predict the outcome, right? That's quite typical of precision generally. And I think with the difference that being in the map compared to the Hidden 3, shows that UK are not really afraid of the control from Philippines, more afraid of that hidden difficulty, because clearly they're not scared of still continuing that control. But this application of that CS6 plus the AR 9.6 plus the intensity definitely shows that UK kind of like the mechanicsy aspects of that control, right? Although there was a bit of mechanics in that Hidden 3, it was mostly the rhythmic and the hidden difficulty that clearly seemed to be that pain point here for UK. And they have shown some crazy work on Hard Rock, particularly throughout this tournament. And yes, this might not be Hard Rock, but it's very damn close to it. AR 9.6 and CS6, like already mentioned. This is the next closest thing to a Hard Rock control map that UK could really like playing, and their roster definitely shows dividends as well. Horn, Skianso, Mahmood, and Bubbleman coming in here. For Philippines, Ikarusi is going to be filling in the final fourth slot, with the other three, Naposo, Maltese, and Nathan Ram, sticking around.
Yeah, Ikarusi, first map for them in this matchup, coming in for some of that control side, which he tends to play a lot. So far, he's played a lot of this in the OWC Philippines this year. A couple of early misses, but Nathan Ram leading the early charge once again here for the Philippines.
Yeah, and that being said, though, these early misses here from Philippines are going to give that flip in favor of the UK, with both Bubbleman and Skianso holding on to the leading combos. I believe that's reverse choke there from Bubbleman. Skianso still has the combo alive. Horton and Mahmood both missing at a similar point earlier on in this intro. We're only about a third of the way through, getting past halfway almost. With the small cooldown, but it's going to be starting to ramp up. Skianso, that's a really rough miss there. One of the cooldown sections, although the 1/3s are punishing, you need to try and keep your composure because this ramp up is not forgiving. And that miss could be really tough as Philippines are starting to chase.
Oh, but Nathan Ram gets the break though. The FC's down for the Philippines. It's back with the UK.
Miltiism missing as well. Two ginormous misses there from Philippines. And that's going to recover completely back on the side of UK. Ikarusi goes down, Imposter goes down. Everyone for the Philippines not able to keep that combo alive for too long here. As despite Horn missing, Bubbleman still holds. And Mahmood as well with a great recovery. Close to once again holding to a reverse choke. These doubles getting so difficult, so unforgiving. Look at these bursts. Look at the BPM changes. Look at the doubles here. Look at the aim. It may trip up Mahmood and Horn, but Bubbleman still holds. And as we get towards the ending of the map, it doesn't really seem like Philippines has any room to fight, with Bubbleman leading the charge. Who else, right, Doomsday?
Who else? I mean, once you get to late stage control, it's Bubbleman's territory. He gets the break, but 750k is such a good score for this man. That's an incredible score for this.
Well done from Bubbleman indeed. A great score on an incredible custom and incredible OS original here from Nokia once again. And yeah, Volman putting up a show on one of the OS originals. That's always a nice thing to see. And what a score it was. A 1-miss reverse choke there. Nicely. Oh no, it wasn't even that. It was a choke. He missed on one of the late stage 1/3 space sections. Yeah, that's a brutal miss, but regardless, a great score. And the collective scores here from UK as well seem to have outshined Philippines by a decent margin as well. You can see the general scores for Philippines not really able to keep up with the rest.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out for the Philippines that time. Just UK looking more comfortable to each player. Nathan Ram with the slider break, of course, 97%, the highest AC in the lobby. 97% is very respectable for this in terms of the accuracy. It's another great score here from Nathan Ram, but it's been a chaotic start, but so far, so even. It's in, I guess, 2 mechanics maps, 2 control maps, and we are square.
Back to 2-2. Back to even grounds. We've seen a few sporadic picks here and there, Doomsday. Not necessarily exactly what we predicted, but nonetheless, still equal. Now it's up for the UK to try and... it's up to the Philippines, sorry, to try and bring back the lead for them into the next pick. Question is now, is that do they try and hinge on the reading against UK? Or do they maybe try and hinge on more of that normal no-more control? I think this normal 3 being won so decisively by the UK maybe makes Philippines hesitate a little bit on some of their picks. I'm very curious for what it's going to be. You can maybe see normal 4. You could maybe see normal 2, potentially. What could it be? It's going to be 3-3.
3-3. It's Kimuri. We love a bit of Niwashi here. We love a bit of down mapping. One of my favourite mappers when it comes to control stuff. Makes really cool flow aim maps, and that's exactly what this is. Crazy flow aim, accel, decel streams, rhythms, lots of micro movements needed, and it's rather short. It's 2 minutes of intensity. Philippines do like their free mod. Not too surprised to see him get stuck into some of it here.
Yeah, there are a lot of cut difficulty in this map in particular. Loads of cuts, control, loads of terrifying flow aim. Down is a great mapper first and foremost, and also very well known for, despite having such great tech proficiency, is mostly well known for his difficulty being in those cut and flow aim difficulty, right? So sporadic, so scary, so dangerous, especially with mods applied here. I think this one, despite being quite comfortable in terms of its statistics, its length shows a very different story. And might be a tell for how difficult this map could be for our teams. I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it, Doomsday. Once again, I think if you wanted to try and match that difficulty in any way compared to the Hidden 3, this would be your next choice.
Yeah, it's a good analog to it. It's a good analog to it. The no-mod side, I think, will benefit the UK a bit better. Certainly, they looked a bit better on the no-mod side than the Hidden side. But the Hidden players did bits. This year did a really good run on that Hidden 3. Schiazzo has been doing pretty well on the Hidden. I'll be surprised to not see Schiazzo into this. This year's there. Will Skia be joining her? Get into his yet?
Yeah, with this map being so short, you would expect quite a lot of consistent difficulty through and through, and it doesn't actually feel like that with this map usually, Doomsday, right? It has a few ramp-up sections, it has a few slowdown sections, but when it hits you, it hits hard. You know, it's a 1,000-ton punch just coming at you. A little bit past the intro section is where difficulty starts to increase, and then a little bit past the halfway mark, it ramps up a ton, and then towards the ending where it just absolutely destroys you. And we're seeing a hidden hard rock here from Schiazzo as well. Okay, I like to see that. That is a very enticing tell. You know, Schiazzo is one of those newcomers that, you know, being so young and being so, I'd say probably versatile and explosive. When he's confident, when he's on the board, he could be one of the most influential players on this UK team. And this hidden hard rock shows confidence, but can he keep that up with this map? Some of these cuts are so messed up. With Licio on the hidden, Teasm on the hard rock, and Romo on the hidden for Philippines. What's it going to be? These back and forth, so unforgiving. We're already getting into it. so on. So difficult, man. Look at these tracking here. So many players going down. There doesn't seem to be any significant combos outside of the two mainstay super carries on both sides, in both Bubbleman and Nathan Ram, keeping their no-mod combos intact, with an SS still holding for Nathan Ram to make this a little bit more scary here for UK. Recovery does lean in favor of them, though.
The accuracy difference on that FC will be doing quite a bit of work if it stays close.
Oh,
back into it now. It's so short. We're halfway through already. It's with the UK. A trade on both sides. The FC staying up is so important for both teams on that no mod. Bubbleman gets the break.
Bubbleman, that's a ginormous miss. Philippines now able to build quite significantly with that combo from Nathan Ram. It's such a short map. Any of these giant combos can matter an absolute ton. But look at the recoveries here from UK. Lisiado's going to go down, and so does Schiazzo. Recovery advantage now shut down entirely here for UK. A Colibed left on his own with 500 combo, contested by Ramu. Noctiza may drop, but Nathan Ram still is fighting here. 99.91 AC is absurd for a map this difficult here. And as we start to encroach that ending, as we start to encroach the peak of its difficulty, it's up to the stars here for Nathan Ram to really enter himself in history. This map is so hard, but still it seems to be nothing for Nathan Ram until the very end. But that doesn't mean jack. Philippines still take the win.
That's an insane score from Nathan Ram. He left early. Was that an FC? That was an FC. Oh no, he broke at the end.
It was a choke at the very end, yeah.
That
doesn't matter though. That's crazy. That's a crazy score.
It is. I was too busy looking at the scoreboard to check his AC compared to everyone else, because that was ridiculous AC.
Dude, listen to me here, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me here. The next highest accuracy is from a Colibed at 97.07 AC, followed by Listier at 96. The rest are 94 and under.
Yeah.
And then you look at Nathan Ram, and you see 99.10, 2 misses, 6 100s, and 2 50s, most of them being on the very end. Okay, so, Nathan Ram, what's your deal? How do you do so well? That's an insane score, really.
He's had his Weetabix this morning, Nathan Ram. He's top scored every map for his team so far. Long may that continue if you're following the Philippines, because right now they are going toe-to-toe with the UK on this pool. They've done well on control, they've done well on mechanics, and more mechanics is where we're going to go, but it's that speed that Philippines double banned already.
Here we go, another map here from Gazimal, quite happy. It's, despite being very speedy, I feel like the difficulty is more emphasized in its control. It's still very bursty though, and still decently stamina heavy. With the AR being dropped down a bit to 8.8, it's not going to be as strenuous on the high AR reading, but it really doesn't change how difficult this map really can be, especially on that speedy burst sections, especially on the control. You know, mechanics finger control and rhythmic finger control are two very different types of skill sets, and two very different kinds of players can perform so well on this, and I'd say United Kingdom love this type of stuff.
Yeah, get him on tapping and that's it. They're off to the races. The control side of this requires competence on the tapping as well, though. Philippines have quite liked their speed too, so they're not going to be too worried about this. But their opponents have been pretty consistent on this sort of thing so far. I guess the way this match has been gone, we've seen lots of mechanics, we've seen lots of control. This is mechanics and control combined. See how that affects both teams.
Yeah, this finger control is pretty harsh. Doomsday, it's pretty harsh. Question really is now on whether or not Philippines are able to match up to the occasion, right? This is one of the less, I'd say less or so high BPM level maps, but it doesn't really change the fact that it's still brutal. 240 BPM. That's pretty quick, man. And although Philippines are, I'd say, relatively competent, are they going to be consistent enough to keep up with what UK are going to be able to show on this one? Malteser, Akoliban, and Bubbleman coming in. I mean, with Rudge as well, all four of these players have crazy efficiency on something like this, you know? Rudge, despite not being a stamina player in particular, I feel like a lot of people mistake him for being that speed player. He is a great speed finger control player. And he's going to be one of the players I'd probably look out for here for UK to do great work on this. Bubbleman, Maltese, and Akolibad also joining in. This is a scary roster here from the UK.
It is. On the Philippines, though, they're bringing in their speed demons too. Xylos in, who is one of their mainstay speed players, getting drafted in here for the first speed map we've really seen. Zone Louise back in as well. Key player on those mechanics. We've already seen him do really well early on this tournament, or earlier on this match even.
Yeah, it's another instance where we're going to have to see some of these individuals from Philippines to really pop off. Are we going to see Nathan Ram go on that crazy pop-off again? We'll have to wait and see. So far, it's not looking too good for them with Zone Louise and Xylos having his early misses. Xylos making his first appearance in this match, important to note. Still Milk Tears and Nathan Ram to hold. A little bit of a slowdown here, but it already hits you straight back into it with that speed. And all 4 members of UK into this first Ki still looking solid. A little bit more of this slider aim adding into this over the tapping difficulty. But it's still present. You see some of these doubles that can really trip you up if you're not prepared for them, if you're slightly uninspected, especially with those sliders on top. That can be really messed up, but it doesn't seem like UK are going to be phased one bit, as all 4 of them full combo this first Ki.
Yeah, looking rock solid. They do get the break though. Rudge is the first break of the UK, but 3 FCs still. There's 2 FCs on the side of Philippines though. They're not a million miles away. Zone Louise does break his recovery though. They have good combos on 2 of their highest performing players. Bubbleman gets the break, but it's traded by Milk Tea.
Oh, it is traded by Bubbleman. And, you know, if there's anyone you don't really want to doubt on anything, it is Nathan Ram. But these 2 combos from Macaulay and Malteser are of really high levels here. Malteser is owning this map, a player who loves this type of skill. And he is excelling on this so far, with 99.2 actually leading the lobby by a landslide here. Not only in combo, but also in AC. And as the speed starts to ramp up just a little bit here, it is still hit here by both members of the UK with the full combos. Nathan Ram forced to fight on his own, begging for someone of those high combos to slip up. Bubbleman may go down, but that's not really the one you're looking for on the slow slider. As we get into the final quarter of the map here, difficulty is starting to ramp up just a bit, but it really doesn't seem like UK are willing to let this go one bit here. Malteser and Akolibet still are owning this map, and Nathan Ram trying so hard here, pushing so many stops. Like, Dipsy, what is this man made of? It really feels like he can do anything right now. And he's really pulling the stops. Unfortunately, this time, the rest of his team, despite having admirable recoveries, really not able to keep up with the speed maestros here of the UK, explaining why they got rid of those DT bans at the start. UK will once again even this out. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a great match. This is 3-3, toe-to-toe. It really could go anyway.
Yeah, the one speed map left open, UK making full advantage of it. Yeah, those bans, 200 IQ bans, if I say so myself. That was a very good choice from the Philippines, because the UK shredded that map. They weren't a million miles away, though, Philippines, with 2 very good S ranks. 600k, 500k on Zone Louise and Xylos is solid. But UK are going to be too strong on these at this stage, that's for sure.
Yeah, I agree. These are really admirable attempts here from Philippines, really. I mean, it goes to show they're not a slouch on these mechanics. Even if they're against the UK, they are able to test them if they wish. And with Nathan Ram getting that FC, I mean, that's a crazy score even on its own. What more can you really ask from a player like Nathan Ram? Sure, he might struggle on the yak, but, you know, the guy isn't really stable as a speed player, so the fact that he can do this regardless is kind of insane, you know? That does give a bit of a fear point here for UK, right? Nathan Ram has had an incredible series so far. Do you worry about that later down the line when the pressure starts to really hit you? Because you Philippines are not backing down at all. UK seemed quite convincingly the favourites of this match, I'd say.
I'd certainly say it coming into it, but the way this matchup's gone so far, it doesn't look like there's too much between them. There's still some skill sets you haven't seen much of yet. No Mod 2 might still be good for the UK, but No Mod 4, Void Crossing, I think is a great pick for the Philippines. Great pick for them, because Nathan Ram is on top form, and this is exactly where you want it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think Philippines, they've clearly shown how much they love this techie control, and they're going to be continuing to rock into it with Void Crossing. This is, I'd like to probably argue, one of, if not the hardest map in the pool outside of Tiebreaker. It is a brutal custom map here by Asilica, and it doesn't let you really hold back. It is a myriad of different difficult tech control skill sets. Finger control, aim control, slider tech control, overlapping aim control as well. You have some space patterns that go back and forth into one another. It's a very unforgiving map, and one of the hardest in the pool, I'd say.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's full of triples where you have like a double and then a sudden 1-4 jump on the third note all over the shop in between those high SVs, those tech patterns. That no mod 4 weirdness, you know. It's turned up to 11 in this map, and especially in the first half, it's full of that aim control. Second half gets more into raw slider aim, but certainly that first half goes crazy on the aim control. And there's a one pattern as well near the end, square. You know the one. It's a horrible square. You'll know it when you see it, because I bet you half the lobby's going to break on it.
Yeah, and you know, it continues afterwards as well. Not only do you have that square, but then straight afterwards, you have those very sharp space flow sections that are also just so messed up. It's a disgusting circle tech overlap back and forth pattern that just hits you with such veracity. This is an aggressive tech map. And it really does pull all of the stops of what a difficult map could be. This is a great map here from Asilica. And, you know, it's translated in its flexibility and its difficulty. But regardless of that, I think both teams have a lot of potential. UK more emphasized on the potential. Unfortunately, they haven't really seemed to be as proficient on tech that we'd hope. And Philippines have exploited that really well. But this roster on paper for UK is still really daunting. Horns and Schiazzo, the dynamic duo, played in not only the World Cup together a lot on these tech maps, but also in a lot of really high-level open rank tournaments. Lycia and Bubbleman joining the crew as well. Two other players that love this type of skill. Is this going to finally be a breakaway point here for UK? Or are Philippines going to once again roll the stops that they need? Scene is going to be making an opening appearance for the Philippines as well. A great tech control player that can really specialize in a strength like this, with Nathan Ram and Poster and Ikarusi joining afterwards. What are we going to see from this? Already a lot of early misses here from both sides. With Scene missing and Poster missing, Nathan Ram missing, Haunt missing, but still 3-2 in favor of the UK.
This team drops an FC, it's 2-2. Ikarusi and Poster with the FCs. Ikarusi gets the break, it's only Imposter left. Nathan Ram recovering, but UK looking pretty good on these opening control patterns. And wow, we've got 2 FCs coming out of those that first half for the UK.
Schiazzo and Bubbleman still holding the line. Nathan Ram, despite having that reverse choke, needs to try and do something. But we're starting to get close into those really difficult circle tech patterns. And it's tripped up Schiazzo early on. We haven't gone to that difficult section just yet. In fact, we've still got some more slider aim to go through, and that's a big combo down. However, you do still have 220,000 score to bridge the gap here for Philippines. You don't really have a lot to speak of here. And with that miss from Nathan Ram coming through, it seems like there's not really anything Philippines can now do to bridge it, as Bubbleman continues to fight. Schiazzo may have a recovery, does miss, but it's still Bubbleman to hold on. Now I'm curious on whether or not he's going to be able to hit this crazy section after this, because it just gets harder and harder from here. Yeah, these sliders so versatile, so difficult. But still, you got more.
Square, it's coming up.
Here we go. Square is there. Bubbleman, he is going to miss on it.
Everyone broke on it.
Everyone missed? Oh, well, there you go then. I mean,
everyone broke on it.
That pattern is so disgustingly difficult. I mean, you really have to have practiced that so many times to know exactly where to go. And even if you're one of the best players of all time, you can't always hit something as difficult as that. But it doesn't really speak anything much about the result. It's the UK to break point over the Philippines in quite convincing fashion as well, despite this map being so hard. You look at a few of these sad underperformances here from Philippines, 3 of them not really able to scrape over the rest of the UK scores, with Bubbleman being a big outlier here. For the first time, Nathan Ram has not been the star of the show. It's again Bubbleman, like the normal 3, dominating the lobby.
That's another big score as well. 600k on that is very solid, if not great, actually. Depends on how this weekend goes with the tech players we have, but I reckon 600k is a high roll for this. It's another great score here from the captain. And they've got the lead back. It's the first time they've had the lead in a while, the UK. Really are having to dig deep for this one. The Philippines are pushing them. It is UK's pick next, though.
Philippines are putting up a really good fight here. The UK have made a breakaway and have opened a window to potentially establish a stronger lead. Question is, what is it going to be? If I was to make a guess here, I'm starting to really lean towards one of these Hard Rock options here. We haven't seen them locked in at all. And although Philippines have a good proficiency on Hard Rock, UK have shown generally that they are the more superior team on that specific strength. So is that going to be picked in? Or will UK go into something else? Thinking of you as a what BPM is thinking of you again? Remind me, 227. Yeah, 227 BPM stamina map. It could be one of those ones. It could also be the normal 2. My heart will go on, but we did say that this was an option for Philippines to pick into. But it will be Hard Rock 3. This is your I was about to say that it's your gore shit difficulty. It's your gore shit stamina. Lots of streams, lots of stamina draining here. And I feel like, again, this is a great ballpark here for UK, but Philippines do have a bit of options in this one. A little bit of leeway. But considering how well UK did on the DT2, I feel like they're going to be a bit more confident in this one.
Yeah, more shred. More shred. If you have a team that's comfortable on 227, which UK certainly do, this is essentially like a no mod 2. It's a flow aim map for the most part. With mostly like streams that they're like straight lines, but they have sharp angle changes. That's the sort of aim we're looking at here. Some of them get pretty spaced as well. I think Philippines, again, they have a solid speed roster that can play this with relative comfort, and it might come down more to flow aim. They did well on the DT2 against the UK, but no doubt, UK loved their tap-in and they looked pretty good earlier.
Yeah, I feel like this map is probably one of the most conventional in the pool. It is difficult and the angles are sharp, but it's not really awkward, I'd say. It's got a lot of sharp twists and turns on some of its streams, especially towards the peaks of its difficulty, where it really hits you hard, sharp to the degree where, you would expect it kind of rivaling the sharpness of something like Shusa, right? Something along those lines. It can be really brutal sometimes at some of the peaks of the streams here. But it's not really awkward, it's not really too uncomfortable, it's not really too unconventional. I feel like UK kind of dream of a map like this sometimes, Malteser and Akolibed being the 2 signature players to come in. I think Malteser and Akolibed will love this map especially. It's kind of like the perfect blend of that flow aim and tapping stamina hybrid. But this is still at a BPM where Philippines can compete, like we mentioned before. Zone-Louise, Malteser, and Nate the Ram, all very capable of Xylos filling in the slot as well. Solid, reliable fill player on a lot of these maps. This is their UK's chance to make a breakaway. But is it going to happen?
We'll soon see. It's the same roster that played White Happy, that last double time pick for the UK. I think it might be the same roster that played it as well for the Philippines. The rosters write themselves, it looks like. Can Philippines steal this one? They definitely have the opportunity to. They have the strength to.
This is a big opportunity here for the UK. Considering how hard Philippines have been battling throughout this entire match. You don't get moments like these too briefly if you're the UK. So they really want to capitalize. Rudge and Bubbleman coming in to join Malteser and Akolibed. And this is a pretty consistently difficult, I'd say. It only really ramps up in its difficulty with its flow aim. The stamina doesn't ramp up too much. The BPM doesn't ramp up too much. It's really the spacing of the streams that really hit you here. And we're getting straight into it. Roger and Bubbleman do have the opening misses here for UK, but it is traded by 2 other members of the Philippines. It is a 2 versus 2 battle here. Zone-Louise is a player to massively look out for something like this. He thrives on these types of flow aim stamina maps. Is this going to be a moment where he can really pop off and become the star for his team? Because this time it's going to matter more than anything. Malteser and Akolibed still hold though, and make this very tenuous. Nathan Ram's accuracy as well is going to be a pain point here for UK. Nathan. Everybody is struggling a little bit, but not enough to break combos. Only quite a few act drops, but that's it. Malteser, Akolibed, Zone-Louise, and Nathan Ram all have their combos intact still, with Rudge and Bubbleman still keeping the recoveries, joining them as well with Malteser and Xylos. Everyone is battling tirelessly to try and get the lead for this one.
And Nathan is holding on for dear life with this FC. Akolibed gets the break, but so does Nathan.
That's a much better trade though in favor of the UK, right? The much lower accuracy is going to really hit them. Double misses from both of the recoveries from both sides. It's just Malteser and Zone-Louise battling this out, and it's still 20k. It's just these 2 players you need to look at here. These are the ones you need to focus on. It is a duel, a 1v1. Not many times do you see something like this so intense here in this OS World Cup. But it's still Malteser and Zone-Louise to fight. Akolibed goes down, so Nathan Ram's recovery is in the lead. Malteser as well, going to be able to contest Bubbleman. But Raj has the lead in there, but down goes Malteser, and so Luis still is holding, but he gets the trade before the flip is in. Raj may miss as well, but there's not a lot of recovery left for Philippines. It's so close though. Is there enough time? It's slowly gaining here for Philippines. Nathan Ram has a good combo. All three of recoveries also decently high, able to contest the other members. Colin and Bowman are the only two to stand. It's slowly closing, but is there enough time? It's so close! Spin to win could be a potential option here. UK need to spin to keep their lead going. It's closing for the Philippines. The spin to win is a possibility. Can it happen? No, it won't. The UK still win on their main pick and keep the lead 2 points ahead.
Man, Philippines, we're about to pull the heist of the century on that one. You have no idea. Zone Louise with the top score in the lobby. What a score, man. 98.6. But Malteser did just enough to hold him off. It's match point for the UK.
You know, you don't get to see maps as close as that very often, Doomsday. Not gonna lie. You know, had Zone Louise traded just a little bit later, this would be a different story. We'd see 4-4. But UK have managed to just claw away and get away with, I think arguably a lot of people would consider a slip up, right? This was so close. But it ends up, thankfully for UK, still staying alive. The Philippines have definitely struck in some fear into this UK team. They will fight them on just about anything, almost.
They will fight them on the beaches, Shiba. That's what they're doing. And Philippines, with the next pick, still have a puncher's chance, really. They have good maps on the board to work with. They still have a free mod in free mod 4, which I think is a pretty good pick for them. They're not going to go into it, though. They're going to be picking no mod 2. They're picking the Dragon Force map. This, I did not expect.
Dragon Force, My Heart Will Go On. I think a song that everyone knows to be far too iconic for us to not be a part of the US World Cup. Mapped by the late and equally legendary Mackie Donalds. A classic in flow aim. A classic style of his. Reminiscent of a lot of the very popular flow aim maps today. Like Glory Days, for example. This one, though, fitting for a dream tournament like the US World Cup coming in here for our semifinals, no mod 2. 3 minutes and 16 seconds. Yes, 4.2 AR and 9.6. A little comfortable, but that slight increase in the CS might make the flowing test a bit more difficult here. 200 BPM, more in the comfort ball game for Philippines. And they do have several very scary flowing players. Like we've said, Zone Louise before, a player who showed up in the map before, might be able to show up even harder on this one.
Yeah, the Philippines kind of shreds on pure flow aim maps. I mean, the last map we played is essentially a flow aim map if you can manage the speed. It did come down to a 1v1. I think a couple of the players on the back end struggled for Philippines, but I can't see it being as much of a case here. I think they're going to be stronger as a 4. So perhaps on the basis of that, it might be a good pick. If Zone Louise is feeling good on the flow aim, then why not have another go? Nathan Ram looks pretty good as well, although that stamina looked just short on him. 200 BPM, I think, should be okay compared to 220. But UK have another fearsome tapping roster, a fearsome flow aim roster. They won't mind this too much. I did think they were going to pick this. The Philippines are taking the fight to them. Yeah,
indeed. I think Philippines feel like they still really have a good option to fight for this one, even if after losing. For UK, it's going to be the signature 3 for the tapping with Malteser, Akoliban, and Bubbleman coming in, with Schiazzo filling in the 4th slot. I think usually a lot of people would question the pick of option of Schiazzo coming in, but I feel like he'd like this BPM. I think 200 is still in his comfort point. I wouldn't really doubt Schiazzo on something like this, to be fair to him. And for Philippines, this roster is also very deadly. Milk Tears, Nathan Ram, Zone Louise, and Xylos. Same roster as before on the Hard Rock 3, same roster as the DT2. And now in for No Mod 2. My Heart Will Go On. Mapped by, like we said, the late legend Mackie Donalds. Your salutes in chat, your 07s in chat. It's time, but My Heart Will Go On.
It is a fairly comfy style of stream map. No one in this lobby will be a stranger to this style of map. It's kind of spiky, but it definitely has generally consistent occasional big spikes of spaced stream to throw at you. The ending has the hardest ones, so we'll see if it matters come the ending.
Yeah, you know, if you're familiar with the song, you will be familiar with really when and where it's going to hit you. The flow aim can really hit you hard towards the peaks of the key eyes and even on towards the ending where it hits you the most, especially towards the very end where the flow aim just destroys you here and first bloods are dropped here from the Philippines. Zone Louise and Xylos are the first to go down as all 4 members of the UK continue to keep their lead intact, but 2 members do go down. Malteser and Bubbleman are to join the trades. Milkteism does join in the misses, however, and that's going to still give UK a decent lead, but not by a ginormous margin, at least just yet here. Another miss there from Malteser, but not the one you're looking for here. Colib and Schiazzo able to contest Nathan Ram for now.
Yeah, those GFCs looking good on the ACK, but can they keep that flow aim together for the UK? Gotta hold their mettle against Nathan Ram, who has been imperious all game. It's up to him, though. He's got to make something happen here for the Philippines.
Oliver and Schiazzo are holding on to fabulous accuracy as well. An important note considering how hard these stream patterns really are. Another stream section to come through and Schiazzo does fall. A Colibad left on his own, but the recoveries here from Philippines are really potent. Able to out-contest everybody else except for a Colibad who is left on his own in this guitar solo section to the final third. Nathan Ram needs to hold, because if he doesn't, a Colibad might be able to try and slip this away here for the UK. The spacing on these streams can get so brutal, so unforgiving here. And a Colibad still, though, is able to fight. One of the kings of flow aim in this modern era of OS, let alone in tournaments here, but both players hold on the guitar solo sections. But the Philippines, the recoveries, they're so strong. They're completely outmatching the entirety of the UK.
They are. It's the team difference, man. To a man, every player in the Philippines are standing tall right now. And a Colibad's down.
Down goes a Colibad. And as the peak of the stream start to come through, the beautiful crescendo of this song and this map, it's starting to approach. Now the question is, your eyes on Nathan Ram, a man, like you said, Doomsday, imperious. Can he hold on to the ending streams of the map? Nathan Ram, he does! Philippines get 4 points!
This is like the performance of a lifetime here for Nathan Ram. We shouldn't be surprised, but it's been insane. Has he top scored every map almost, bar maybe the last one? Absolutely ridiculous performance from Nathan Ram.
What is this accuracy? This is sickening, Doomsday. I mean, the title you gave him checks out. Impervious, man of steel, nerves of steel, and a jack of everything, man. It really feels like there's nothing Nathan Ram can't do. And he is one of the pillars that keep Philippines fighting, keeps their fire alight. One more map. If the Philippines take this, we're going to tiebreaker.
They got to take a break point. I wonder if we can get like a check on how much PP that score was, by the way, from Nathan Ram, because that's 7.7 stars and ridiculous ACK. But regardless, the main thing is they're still in the OWC.
Somebody get the stats right now. We've got to find out. This is a close to a PP record. That's a great way to celebrate such a great map, and a great way to celebrate such a great player with such a great score, right? And with that, Philippines, a lot of hope injected. And on top of that, you know, a lot of options here that are thinning down here for UK. It feels like the only option that they really want to try and abuse is Hard Rock 2, potentially, and it will be Hard Rock 2 indeed to be picked here. But this is quite control heavy. And Philippines do have those really strong control players. I don't think this is a mistake. I feel like this is the best option UK can go for. But how are Philippines going to do on this? Precision. So volatile, Doomsday.
It is, and this is even more precision than the usual precision, because it's CS 5.3 base. Nearly 7 stars. So that is pretty small, and it's on a control-based map. It's a flow aim map, high SVs. So you need the control as well as that precision. I think this is pretty good for the UK. Their Hard Rock players have been performing well. I wonder if we'll see Mahmood back in for this. Looks like it, because we haven't actually seen Mahmood in for quite a while. His last map was quite a while ago, and he's been playing pretty well today. Definitely quite good to get him back in, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think the most recent maps here have been a little bit more on the control side, and especially more on the flowy side. I think Mahmood is not as comfy on more of the flow-amy stuff. He's a lot more into the snappy, a lot more into the rapid, mechanics-heavy control. And it's been the first time in a while that Mahmood has been able to play something that's a little bit more on the snappy, difficult side, and this one being one of those, right? It has those rapid sliders, it has those high SVs, and it does have a few of those circle flow patterns, but generally through and through, this is a snappy map for the most part. I mean, I wouldn't call it exclusively snap, but it has that in there, right? That kind of is usually the nature with some of these hard rock control maps. And this one being CS 6.6, 6.89? Is it 6.6 or 8.9? I don't remember being 6.6. 8.9?
Yeah.
That was higher than I even thought it was.
It's nearly 7 stars.
Good
Very
lord.
close.
Yeah, this is a tough map, ladies and gentlemen. And like we've said, precision can make things volatile, can make things uncertain. There is potential for Philippines to eke out this win and get tiebreaker. I would absolutely love to see it, but I know that UK do not want to give away anything. They want to get in and get out in order to prepare for Canada's potential matchup or China's potential matchup, depending on who wins that. United Kingdom have a very daunting opponent up ahead of them if they take this. Philippines equally. It needs to be now. Can Philippines do it? Zone Louise, Milkteism, Nate the Ram, and Imposter coming in for what might be their last map at the Source World Cup.
Haunt's back in. Haunt hasn't played that many maps. The nerves are going to have to be cool and collected for them. Imposter played quite a few maps in this match already. So far they're the ones keeping themselves together, because there's 3 breaks on the side of the UK early on.
So far here, so good here for Philippines. Zone Louise and Imposter do have those misses, but it is traded sequentially by Mahmood, Rudge, and now Bubbleman as well. A lot of these combos dropped here from UK, but it's looking decently close still. Haunt does have a good enough combo. A lot of players dropping here, but Haunt misses. And that's one of the big combos you really don't want to see go down, as Imposter is left to lead the charge here for Philippines. But recovery from UK still in their favor. Misses all over the place. It's only 80,000. And this map is also so short. Is there enough time? Imposter misses! That's a ginormous one. And that might just spell the end. Mahmood and Bubbleman have the recoveries, and there's a slowdown section here. Enough notes to just keep it building.
A bit more of a hard section here. More aim here. But UK have insurance now. 2 big combos. Philippines don't have anything to really combat this. This might just be it.
Mahmood's early miss absolutely meant nothing to him, and you can tell he is destroying the rest of this map. With Bubbleman's miss, potentially might have made this more tenuous, but it's not going to be the case. From the beginning to the end, Mahmood's the one to rely on for the UK, and he will be the one to shut down Philippines' dreams of tiebreaker, their dreams of advancing to the US World Cup. A valiant battle here from the Philippines, proving through so much doubt throughout this World Cup that even without the 2 players that made their name known in 2023, they can still battle some of the best teams on the planet. And unfortunately, although their run ends, I think a round of applause is always in queue for a team as hardworking and as strong this year as the Philippines. The UK, though, will get their victory, and they will advance to face either Canada or China tomorrow.
Is Mahmood like the most clutch player in this tournament, or what? Dude hasn't played for like 4 maps, 5 maps, and just top scored that when the pressure was really on. I'm so impressed with how he's been playing this tournament, and long may it continue, because the UK are moving on. But yeah, as you mentioned, a word for Philippines, because they have proven that even on a pool like this, which is full of difficult maps, it's far harder than last week, they've taken a team like UK to the brink. I feel like at times during that one, they rode their luck a little bit, the UK. The Philippines, man, they're out, but that was a performance they can be proud of as they bow out.
Yeah,
My
not
God.
only, not only the whole team here for Philippines to really step up, but Nathan Ram particularly, right? I think a player who was, although very notably strong in 2023, was also a player quite overshadowed by Henry and Hyuk, who were so indispensable last year, but Nathan Ram was also so valuable. And this year he was able to really shine in how versatile and how reliable of a player he is. Solidifying as probably one of the strongest players in this World Cup this year. And, I'd probably say the easiest call for an MVP on this matchup, despite the Philippines' loss. Mahmoud was incredibly clutch. Zone Louise had some great moments. Malteser was incredibly consistent on the tapping. But Nathan Ram pulled every stop on every map. And,
generational performance.
Yeah, really. So with that, thank you, Philippines, for your great performance here. You've given us some of the best matches of this tournament so far. So a big salute and a heart to Philippines. But with that being said, they are knocked out of the Host World Cup, and the UK will take them down and advance. Ladies and gentlemen, your next match will not